My brothers and sisters, you are now watching the Gamer 2323, so just forget about the chores you're supposed to do. Put your feet up, get your Kool-Aid, fried chicken, popcorn, get whatever you may need! And I hope you enjoy the video. Yes, sir. What's going on, my brothers and sisters? Today, I wanted to talk about some of my favorite horror movies of all time. We all know we in spooky season, October. Watch parties is coming this weekend, Twitch chat. I wanted to, talk about some of my favorite horror movies, give out some of my top tier recommendations of horror films that, I've watched throughout the years that, maybe you guys have not seen yet. And you guys could recommend me some too. There's been a lot of horror movies that, I haven't seen every horror movie out there. So maybe you guys can give me some recommendations. I give you some recommendations. Bam, boop, bop. It all works out. The Hills Have Eyes 1. That movie will mess you up. I remember the first time I seen that, I was like, yo, the freaking deformed human creature mutant things that is in that movie that you dealing with, I ain't gonna say nothing else. But if y'all have not seen The Hills Have Eyes 1, 2006, that's like one of my favorite horror movies of all time that even kind of still creeps me out when I watch it today. The Conjuring 1, still probably my favorite Conjuring movie. I did like 2. I personally thought 3 was good too. I heard, maybe it was just me that kind of liked 3, but I heard like a lot of people was like dissing 3. I didn't think 3 was that bad, but I will still say I think the first Conjuring was the best. If you have not seen the Conjuring series and you are into like, ghosts and all the paranormal, demonic, type movies like that, Conjuring 1, bro, is a classic. I've watched that movie probably like 5 or 6 times. Never gets old. Still one of my top tier horror movies. 30 Days of Night. This ain't some Twilight tier vampires. No. These, like, when you think vampires, you would think the ones that are in this movie. Like 30 Days a Night, if you want to see vampires done right, like ain't no model vampires, no freaking suckers that can be like in GQ magazine. Like, no. If you want to see vampires done right in a horror movie, 30 Days a Night, one of my favorite horror movies. All right, so these next movies that I'm going to name kind of all like fall in that zombie category. I'm a big fan of zombies, so 28 Days Later, come on now, classic. World War Z. I never read the book, but I hear the freaking book is like even like way better than the movie. Train to Busan. One of my favorite Korean movies of all time. I'm gonna get into some more Korean flicks, but Train to Busan, if you have not seen that movie, arguably one of the best zombie movies like ever. Think World War Z, but Korean, and instead of being on like a plane and stuff, you on the train. But it's really good. The story is really good. Train to Busan, if you have not seen it, watch that. I heard the sequel is nowhere near as good as the first one. So Rec is the I think it's the Spanish. Well, Rec existed before quarantine. Freaking Americans tried to come in. The Quarantine, which I think came out in 2008, is the American version of Rec. But nah, if you watch Rec, the Spanish tapes, and I think there's like, I don't know, there might be like 3 or 4 movies for Rec, but I seen 1 and 2. Another one of my favorite like kind of zombie-ish movies of all time, but it got a twist on it. Those are some of my favorite like, movies that deal with zombies, infected type human and stuff like that. Probably the best, I don't even think probably. When you think exorcism movies, and I know The Exorcist is like labeled as like a classic, which I think that was like in, 1973 or something like that. That's cool, but when I watch that joint, I'll be laughing most of the time. No. When I'm talking about exorcism movies, bro, and there's been a whole freaking slew of exorcism movies. It got to the point to where it was like The Exorcism, and then it was like The Next Exorcism, then it was The Last Exorcism. It was like, all right, how many exorcism movies? The Exorcism of Emily Rose is my favorite exorcism movies of all. Now, the only thing with that movie is like you have to get through like, you know, the court scenes, but it's the movie that's, you know, based on, you know, the real, you know, story of Anne Elise Michelle. You know, so it's based on that whole case and stuff like that, like one of the more popular you know, exorcism cases. So it's based on that movie, but the actress that plays her, I forgot her name, but she was in White Chicks. Bro, probably some of the best acting that I have ever seen from a freaking white girl or woman that plays like the victim in these exorcism movies, bro. Her acting in that, dog, when the like when those exorcist scenes come and like all the stuff is going on, I was like, bro, that movie still creeps me out today. Yeah. Exorcism of Emily Rose, to me, that's like top tier exorcist movies. So my camera just ran out of battery. I ain't waiting to charge this one. I can't find my spare one. We doing the rest of this on webcam. The Thing. This movie now, 1982. I personally do like the 2011 version though. It's not as good as the original. I see why people don't like it. Probably one of my favorite movies that like deal with like, you know, alien like creatures and like you're trying to find out like how it works and all of the things it's doing, and there's just a lot of chaos going on. The cast that they had in that movie, it is all fit together. It still passes by kind of today. Like, yeah, some things do look kind of silly, but it's still like, I feel like that movie has aged really gracefully considering it came out in the 80s. But again, practical effects. That's why you got movies like, you know, old Jurassic Park 1 that can still pass by today, because sometimes practical effects just does look better than CGI. So that's why some people didn't really like the 2011, you know, the 2011 version of The Thing. But yeah, The Thing, 1982. Come on now, bro. Jeepers Creepers 1 and 2. Whew. Now, excluding what that creep director did, this movie, well, both of these two movies, I am not including 3. 3 does not exist to me. As far as monster movies, monster designs, just the mystery behind the creeper and what he is and where he came from, the things that he was doing just to get whoever he wanted and you wasn't going to stop him. I just found those two movies like so interesting. I think they're iconic films when it comes to horror. Again, it just sucks how, you know, the director was what he was. But yeah, Jeepers Creepers 1 and 2, come on now. Classics. Fire in the Sky. If you guys have not seen this movie, this is probably my favorite, like, alien abduction movie. I've seen a whole bunch of movies like that, and most of the times they don't really end up kind of being scary. It's just kind of like, I guess. You know, but no. This one, I won't even necessarily call it a horror movie, because it's more so like, you know, the way they tell the story. You're seeing like a lot of, you know, how, because it's based off of the real story from I forgot the guy's name, but it's based off of the real story from him and you know, his experience, you know. So really most of the like alien abduction scenes, it doesn't really occur until like nearing the end of the movie, but you're really into the movie as it's going on. And then once the actual scenes are going down, I thought that was like one of the most creepiest, like kind of realistic of how it probably, you know, would go down. You know, and just like how horrified you would be in that situation and the acting that they had in those scenes, bro. Fire in the Sky is like always it's always one of the first movies that I think of when I think of like movies that deal with aliens in them. Halloween 2018. You know, prior to watching this movie, I was never really into Michael Myers like that. You know, Michael Myers, Jason, Freddy Krueger, and they're always like some of the most iconic characters when it comes to like this time of the year. But I was never really into Michael Myers like that. I always knew about him and I've seen the films, but I was never crazy about him. But Halloween 2018, I was surprised how much I actually liked this movie when I did see it. I was like, yo, this junk is really good. And you don't necessarily like have to watch, the ones prior to that to understand Michael Myers and like what he is. I'm actually waiting for Kills to come out because I really want to see that as well because I like 2018. So yeah, that was really kind of my true introduction to Michael Myers, because that was like really the first movie I actually sat and watched the whole thing. So Michael Myers, I get it, bro. I get it. Midsommar, whatever you want to call it. I actually watched this again on Twitch watch parties. This movie is still on Prime Video right now. They've never pulled this movie off. Great thing, because it's a great film, but on Prime they sometimes like take stuff off, and I mean really Prime is right now is just like a waiting room for Invincible season 2 and The Boys season 3. Like we're really just waiting for that. Every now and again they'll like they got some good movies on Prime, but you really have to like do digging to find the movies. Like they don't really like advertise it. A really interesting movie and the next movie that I have to say after that is Hereditary, made by the same directors. Both of these movies got like really like a lot of like imagery in the movie and just like a lot of dark cultish stuff going on and vibes. I just still remember seeing Midsommar for the first time, and by the time that movie ended I was just like staring at the screen. I was like, what did I just watch? And Hereditary is another one of those movies that, when you watch it, it will mess with you. I'm not sure if you guys have seen that movie. I know a lot of people have, but yeah, if you have not seen Midsommar or Hereditary, two movies that will really mess with you, but are good horror films to watch. So I have more, but just to end off this video, I ain't gonna name every horror movie that I freaking like. Them Koreans, dog, I don't know what they be doing, but bro, I've been getting into Korean movies a lot lately. I really be feeling like as I'm watching more and more Korean movies, I'm like, bro, these suckers really just crap on American actors. Like Korean movies got a whole different vibe to them. Most of the time, the acting just feels better. I'm sorry. I mean, not all of the time. But most Korean films, they don't got all like that cliche stuff going on. The acting just feels better. It feels more like grounded and realistic, bro. The Wailing. Oh my. I think it was Eagle that put me on to this. But The Wailing, another movie that's on Prime Video right now. It was just crazy, like all the stuff that was going on, the story that they was telling, the acting again, like just top tier Korean actors, bro. Like these suckers just come out the womb ready to grab an Emmy. It's crazy. Like just the acting that are in these Korean films. You guys have not seen that. Really great movie. The twist that's like at the end. Was that other one that we watched? Was it The Man from Nowhere? Well, that was a good one too, but I don't know if that's the one that I'm thinking about. But yeah, we've been watching like some Korean films that be on Prime Video. Again, Prime got some good stuff. You just have to dig for it. Those are some of my favorite well, at least current, favorite horror/thriller movies of all time right now. I would love to hear some of y'all favorite horror movies, thrillers. Maybe you guys could put me on to some movies that I have not watched before, as I just did for you. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and until the next video, my brothers and sisters, I'll catch y'all boys in my next one, all right? Yeah.